So I know I've done a lot of long videos recently, so I'm going to try and keep this one at least short. But it is Miriam Cates, and she's writing on Conservative Home, and she has provided us with some absolute comedy gold. So honestly, it's going to be quite difficult. But I will try. I will endeavour to try and at least try and keep this under, or at least between 10 and 15 minutes. Depends how much we like to laugh at Miriam Cates. But anyway, before we get on, who is Miriam Cates? You might be asking. Well, Miriam Cates, of course, one of the many up and coming rising stars of the Conservative Party, who at the next election, or at least next week, probably about to lose her seat. That's for sure. And certainly, as I've said many times before, she is the MP next door. She's the MP for Penistone and Stocksbridge. Literally a hop, skip, and a jump, stone's throw, whatever analogy for, it's not far away you want to use. But Miriam Cates, in particular, even in her own constituency, as we'll see in the moment, she is not liked. She is not liked. And interestingly enough, there were rumours swirling around for quite a while that a local Conservative Party had tried to disown her, that wants to get rid of her because she has engaged with all these really weird far-right organizations, especially in America and things like that, and doing that speech in the the National Conservative, which is like a really weird conservative Christian fundamentalist group. And I'll tell you what, at the end of this article, Miriam Cates is certainly right about one thing. The only person who could help her win this election now is certainly a divine intervention from God himself. Because I will tell you what, she is absolutely one of the MPs I am hoping loses her seat at the next general election. She absolutely deserves to. But before we do get into the madness of Miriam Cates, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page, the Buy Me Coffee link, and the YouTube thank you button, as well as the Pony Club down below. Like I say, we are getting close to the magic 100 number. Well, that will be, 99 will be the day before the election, and then 100 will be the week after the election. Of course, do remember to join us this weekend for the Good Morning Walk on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, as always, in the morning. The last Good Morning Walk before the general election as well. So we've got those two milestones to sort of look forward to coming up. So yes, do feel free to come and join us on those. I think it's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be quite an odd feeling in many cases, but hey, there you go. So as always, before we do go cracking on into this, thank you very much for all those people who do help support the channel. Even if you do, just click the like and share button. So over we go to Conservative Home and Miriam Cates, who says, voters are unhappy with politics, but many are still making up their minds. And of course, something I've been telling you for a while now, that the SPADs, or the special advisors, were trying to calm many Tories by saying, oh, don't worry, your Tory vote share might fall, but look, all those don't knows. Those don't knows, well, don't worry, they're going to vote for you. So definitely something Miriam Cates is hoping she's going to try and hopefully save herself with. However, as we often go to the comments, they don't agree with her. But there you go. And straight on, we're going to jump onto this, because I did allude at the beginning that there was this rumor that the Penistone and Stocksbridge Conservative Party had sort of abandoned her, and that she had two, if not almost no, local volunteers helping her. And Miriam Cates has pretty much just confirmed this might be very well true, because she says here, I've been fortunate to have the support of dozens of volunteers who have travelled up from London and the South to help me with my campaign. Yep. When you haven't got the support, bus them in. And honestly, now that we heard recently that Conservative HQ is pulling support from people who have, a majority of 10,000 or less, Miriam Cates supporters, I don't think are going to be turning up from the south or London anymore. I wonder if Miriam Cates canvassing in like what over the next week or so is going to drop to next to nothing. Would not surprise me. Would not surprise me. But then she goes and talk about, oh my god, how wonderful sort of Penistone is, and it is quite a nice place, to be honest. It's very sort of nice part of Yorkshire. And then she goes on to talk about this is an. I'm from Yorkshire, so I'm allowed to sort of share this secret. So if you are from the south and you happen to be listening, don't tell anyone I told you. But we in Yorkshire have this tradition where whenever we go on the tube, we always tell the story of how no one looks anyone in the eye or talks to anyone on the tube, or we might try and strike up a conversation with another passenger on the tube. Miriam Cates tells this story herself. Goes, when I was first elected, I made my way to Westminster. I used to try and strike up conversations with other passengers on the tube. I soon learned my lesson. A true time-honoured Yorkshire tradition. But anyway, she also goes on to see, this is the weird one as well. So, but while my constituents might be happy to talk, it doesn't mean they are happy about the state of politics. Nigel Farage is right. This is the immigration election. It's really not. It's really not, Miriam. I'm sorry, but anyone saying that this general election is the immigration election, like 2019 was absolutely the Brexit referendum, and just like Theresa May, that when she was saying in 2017, this is the Brexit referendum. It wasn't the Brexit referendum. It was the pensioners' heating allowance election. This general election is all about how many of you guys we can get rid of. And you are certainly on the chopping block, Miriam. She knows this well and truly, as we'll be getting to in a minute. It honestly feels like she wrote this partly, and then she got completely abandoned by CCHQ and now feels really left alone. So this is where it gets really weird and almost really comedy gold. So the disappointment, a sense of betrayal that people now feel is palpable. Time and time again, we voted to reduce immigration, but instead we have now seen huge rises in the number of records over the last couple of years. Remember that. Remember that. And then she goes into some, culture war nonsense about, immigration being responsible for the impact on public services, housing. It's not. The biggest pressure on public services is, the actual problems it is facing from people here. Waiting times aren't being massively inflated by the number of people immigrating here. Housing is not being, by a problem here. The housing crisis has its roots from decades of conservative mismanagement and not actually building the houses, not actually solving the housing crisis needed to actually solve it. But this is where it starts to get weird. Where is it? Here it is. So, voters understand that while the Conservatives may have accidentally allowed immigration levels to spiral, wait, you just admitted that your own party voted to reduce immigration levels. And bear in mind, constantly, Miriam Cates has been on the right of like the most hardest immigration policies we have seen over this previous parliament, I suppose we should call it now. Yeah, oh, it's because their ideas and their ideology have failed. You know, the Rwanda plan was not a deterrent and was not going to magically solve immigration like Miriam Cates and all the rest would bang on about. But there you go. They've just accidentally allowed immigration levels to spiral. No, you accidentally spill your drink. You not just accidentally allow immigration numbers to spiral. Anyway, the next, of course, she goes on to about telling people about, who people are voting for. And honestly, again, knowing that area a bit, people are being polite and just saying, I don't know. Like, maybe if you press them, they'll tell you. But most people, because this is something, a typical British trait, we don't like to admit or openly tell people who people were voting for at the next general election. So people will just always go to, oh, I don't know. Especially if it's the candidate, actually asking them. But interestingly, this is almost you can tell this is a problem Miriam Cates has been having. So, but it's not all about small boats and Nigel Farage. Plenty of local issues do come up as well, like all constituency MPs. I've done my best to try and persuade the local authorities to improve bus services and fix potholes. While with various degrees of success, some constituencies do fully understand that MPs do not have full control over these matters. Others hold their MP fully responsible. Gee, I wonder, has she been having a lot of angry letters about potholes and bus services? Because one gentleman told me he regretted he could no longer vote for me because of the state of the hedges. I don't like Miriam Cates, but I'll tell you what. We talked about this, and you remember when we had Josh from Movement Forward on about how a lot of people really don't understand like the job of an MP, what they are there for, what they are responsible for, and then you've got councillors, what their jobs are, what they are responsible for. A lot of people do not know who to go to and mostly just focus on their MP rather than their councillors sometimes. But there you go. And then this, totally a real conversation that happened, guys. Totally a real conversation. Economics feature 2. I've had fascinating conversations, I'm sure she has, about our balance of trade, interest rates, the national debt, and pension security. Okay. And then she goes on to blame all the high taxes, all the higher inflation that we've had was because of the stuff we did during the gas price crisis and COVID, and that's all really what's responsible for the cost of living. Oh, but one of the biggest things is that the Conservatives did engage in a lot of socialism, in a lot of public spending to help people through during COVID. And now you've got the cost of living crisis happening and all the stuff around it that's happening. People are asking the question, well, if you can help out during COVID, why then can you not help out during the cost of living crisis and do stuff to do that? Because I've said they won't. It's just an ideological thing for them. They do not want any government support or intervention whatsoever. And I wouldn't be surprised if Miriam Cates was like fully against some of the COVID policies. I can't remember off the top of my head where she stood on a lot of this stuff. But it would not surprise me if she was one of the Sweden got it right type of conservatives things. This was an odd one where she was apparently out and someone told her that they were going to vote for Donald Trump. And then this is weird. One. So what's surprising is how many people have yet to decide how to cast their vote. She hasn't actually given any indication, but if you go and have a look at the voting intention for Penistone and Stocksbridge, they're pretty clear. They are pretty clear. She says, I'm relatively new to this game. 2019 was my first general election campaign, but last time most people seemed to make up their minds almost the moment the election was called. I'm not saying the polls are wrong. She is. But I think there will be plenty of interesting data to keep the psychologists busy on July the 5th. Yep. That's totally not written by someone who's going to lose their seat, because she then talks about a bit about politics. Now, people normally don't think about it, but she's been involved in it. And then she goes, oh, I prefer to put my faith in someone altogether more ethereal. And then she gives a psalm. Because I will tell you this, Miriam, you are right. The only person that could probably help you save your seat now is really God. And to be honest, given the polls, I don't think you're going to see any divine intervention on the 4th or even the 5th of January. Of July. But yeah, Miriam Cates, certainly one of the people I am hoping that I can cross off Patillo-Geddon, the my wonderful, wonderful polling map that I've got. I've got to show you this before I go. Let me get it up. But this, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be using this a lot on voting night. Where is it? Oh no, window. There you are. This is Patillo-Geddon. Look at it. Isn't it beautiful? Conservative wipeout bingo. We'll be able to, we can make this. Oh, that's me. That's a photo of me. Whoops. Never mind. There we go. But anyway, we'll sort that out. We'll sort that out for election night. But yes, I am looking forward to general election night. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But there you go. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.